So some of this is a learned behavior. Can we learn how to worry, fret, doubt, and overwork? Absolutely. So then I say, well, okay, if I'm doing these things. So what I did was I got a piece of paper and I wrote out all the things that were out of control. My thinking, my work schedule, I was trying to fit too much into a day. I wasn't eating right, I wasn't sleeping. What was I piling on top of, on top of, on top of, on top of? Hey, welcome to What's Your Problem? I'm Scot Ferrell. Thank you so much for joining me today. As you can see, I have a catchy new backdrop. Now, are we stuck to the backdrop? No, what we're going to do is we're going to go on location. We're going to come back in the studio. There's a lot of things we're going to do with this because between doing radio shots, TV shots like I used to, I don't like just one genre now. I like to be able to get out and move around. We're going to be going to interview people where they are. The key is with this show, with what we're doing here, with What's Your Problem, it's to take your problem and get you an answer. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this. So if it's going to interview an expert, if it's going to do one over here on Skype, Zoom, or in person, we're going to do whatever we have to do it. I just want to get you an answer. Now today, got my trusty notes here today. Today's came via a young lady I know that I've been helping with her business. She wanted to ask me something because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of women actually tell me this. How do I shut my mind off? I'm trying to wind down before bed, and all of a sudden, all 23,000 things that I've got to do have now hit me in the face. And I go to lay down, and regardless of what I do, it's do over and over again, and I can't seem to calm down enough to go to sleep. And then I end up just getting up. I end up going back in there and doing what I've got to do, and the next day I realize I've got 3 hours of sleep and I'm worn out and I'm 14 days into this and I still can't shut this off. Okay, deal with this a lot. I actually had to deal with this with my own wife several years ago because my wife, she'll tell you, workaholic, always has something going through her head, ideas, she likes to scribble, she keeps a notepad by her bed, you name it. Well, let me do some rule outs before I handle, okay, all right, so I've got racing thoughts, can't cut them off. Okay, stop. Let's go over how the body works. So we're spirit, soul, and body. Today, I'm not a medical doctor, so let's go ahead and handle this now. What we're not talking about during this time is any type of psychological disorder, any type of blood pressure issue, anything that does or has something to do with somebody with the initials MD beside it, we're not dealing with. Yes, certain psychological disorders can, leaky gut can, hormonal issues can, they all can. Okay, so we're doing a perfect world here today because I'm not a medical doctor. My suggestion is, though, you always want to go see a medical doctor. I know I have a medical team I use. Every year I get everything checked, man. I want to make sure I'm all good. Due to, if you've seen the movie Healed, by About My Life, you'll know why I say this. So, medical doctor. All right, so take all medical issues off the table. We're not dealing with those. What we're dealing with is behavioral. I haven't learned how to switch it off. I haven't learned how to turn it off. I'm just constantly in turmoil. I'm constantly stressed out. I'm constantly full of fear. I'm constantly not being able to, it's the, I need 26 hours a day, but I only had 24 scenario. That's what I'm going to handle. All right, so now, what do I do if I'm normal? That's a loose term now, isn't it? No medical issue. What do I do if I'm just a human being who's stressed out, overtaxed, live in this microwave society to where nothing seems like it can get done fast enough, and I don't seem like I have enough time to do anything right, and I don't get anything completed? Oh, congratulations, you're human. All right, so now that you're human, we can work with this. All right, here's what I tell everybody. The thing about it is I had to do it for myself. Anything that I air towards you, anything that I go over with you, and I coach CEOs to individuals, I've done myself. So I'm never going to give you something to do that I haven't personally done. I'm my test dummy. If it didn't work on me, then I'm not going to tell you to do it. But if it did work on me, I'm going to tell you to do it. So now we have to sit and go, all right, I'm stressed out. I can't cut it off. I'm having trouble sleeping. Okay. Then we have to look and say, who am I? Where am I going? What am I doing? Right? So I always say, you got to make a list. I'm real big on lists. And I've got one of my lists here right in front of me. The key is I have to look at you as a human. I was a human. All right. So let's use me as the case study for you. I had to look and go, okay, what's my human programming? What was programmed into me from 0 to 7? All right, so did my mom worry? Did my dad worry? Was my dad always stressed out? The answer is yes. My dad was a workaholic who was always stressed out. So what I saw in my home as a child was stress, worry, fear, doubt, not a lot of communication. Okay, so that's my basis, so that's what I had as a child. So what do you think I took into my adulthood? Worry, stress, doubt, stress, work, can never do enough work, I'm always greater than how I work, I can never be good enough if I don't work hard. See, that's ingrained in my head. And I'd like to say it's 100% gone now, but my wife will look at me and go, do I need to go over human programming with my husband who says he knows human programming? Then stop doing it. Okay, I get what my wife's saying. So some of this is a learned behavior. Can we learn how to worry, fret, doubt, and overwork? Absolutely. So then I say, well, okay, if I'm doing these things. So what I did was I got a piece of paper and I wrote out all the things that were out of control. My thinking, my work schedule, I was trying to fit too much into a day. I wasn't eating right, I wasn't sleeping. What was I piling on top of? Us baby boomers tend to do that. We seem to be the Wall Street generation, if you know what I'm talking about from the movie. So we didn't have any problem. It was nothing for me to work 90 hours a week. It almost killed me. Word to the wise. So I had to make a list. All right, what am I doing? What are the behaviors mom and dad did, and what am I doing? And I said, I got that list of the past of programming. Then I said, let me make a list of this. What stresses me out? Okay, so what's stressing me out? Is it my job? Is it how I relate to people, how people relate to me? Is it the amount of hours I have? Is it the workload I've got at work? My relationships, what's stressing me out being a parent? Whatever it is, I wrote it down. And then I wrote down, what do I worry about? Now, granted, I'm a pastor now. I'm talking about me then. Well, again, let me preface that. Not all pastors don't worry. Okay, I got that. And then I wrote down, what worries me? Okay, the future, my kids, the health of my kids, me, some of my health issues, my parents, whatever it was, I wrote it all down. All right, so, and then I wrote down, what am I afraid of? Now, I'm not afraid of much. I guess the blessing of being raised by my father, Jim. My father wasn't afraid of anything. He taught us not to be afraid of anything. And then when I got Christ, boy, now I'm really not afraid of anything. But I don't like spiders, so I had to write spiders. Don't like spiders. Afraid of spiders. But what was I really afraid of? I was afraid of something happening to my kids, to my wife. So I wrote down everything I could possibly be afraid of. And then I wrote down all my doubts. Okay, what am I doubting right now? Do I really buy into who Christ is? Do I really believe that I was created for a reason? Do I really believe in the people I work with? Do I really believe I'm doing what I'm supposed to right now as a person? Am I really in the right career? What are the things that I consistently doubt on a daily basis? All right, so now we've got, how many pieces of paper we got? We got 5 pieces of paper of list we've made. Here's the great thing about a list. We make one to go to the grocery store, right? Why don't we make a grocery list? If you're married, why does your wife make you a grocery list? Although in my family, I do all the grocery shopping because I do all the cooking. So I write everything down on that list I don't want to forget, and I got to make sure while I'm there, I know what I'm cooking this week. I got to make sure I bring it home. Why don't we make a list of things that are impacting our lives in a negative way? We don't want to live any off the list. What we want to do is eradicate the bad and then accentuate the good. Okay, so now that I know every single thing that's bugging me, there's several approaches to do this. One, I use different techniques with people. With my wife, she liked this one because my wife is an artsy, crafty, likes tangible things she can touch. I said, okay. I said, and I approached this from a few points. Now, as pastor, I approach everything from a creation standpoint. I'm created, you're created, God put us on this planet to do something great. That's how I approach this. Not everybody does, but that's how I'm a pastor, man. That's how I'm going to approach everything. So I looked at her. I said, okay, we've got your 5 list. And what's under your control? Right? So we put a pile of what's under her control and what's not. Okay. And then because of free will, most is under our control, right? So then I said, all right, I'm going to make you a box. So I made a box and with Christmas wrapping paper and then cut a hole in it. Remember how we used to do student council stuff where we'd stuff the ballot box? That's what we did. I said, okay. I said, what is it in this stack that you can control but need to give to God? And when I say control, I mean your thought process as far as, all right, I know I need to give this to God. So basically what I'm trying to get to her is you need to take this whole stack and put it in here with God, right? So programming issues. Okay, those you've got to fix. You don't want to worry about them, but those you know that, all right, I talk too much. How do I fix that? Okay, I worry all the time. How do I fix that? Okay, so what I did was I said, I'm going to take your worry list, I'm going to take your fear list, and I'm going to take your doubt list. And I'm going to give those to God, but here's why. There's a verse in the Bible, 2 Timothy 1:7. It says, He did not give us a spirit of fear. Okay, so stop right there. If God didn't give me all my fears, worries, and doubts, who did? Well, that's Lucifer. Okay, that's easy. Okay, so I don't want to keep something Lucifer gave me, right? Because he's, I always look at it this way, God good, Lucifer bad. All right, so if he's intending to try to destroy me, I don't really want to keep anything he gave me. So I'm going to give it to God. So the rest of that verse is, he gave me power, love, and a sound mind. What's a sound mind? Now let's get to this. The sound mind's the ability to receive the peace and joy that God's given us through the cross and be able to go to sleep at night and renew our mind. Now, what's that really mean? We're able to rest. Now, what's that mean? Again, Christ is our Sabbath. We're able to rest all the time. What's that really mean? It means that regardless of the externals, we know without a shadow of a doubt that we have peace, joy, and love, all of which were bought from the cross. And now we know that everything's handled. Now, on a theoretical standpoint, that's lovely. What's it look like in the practical? So I lay down at night, and I've got a bazillion things running through my head, what I got to do tomorrow, what I got coming up. Oh my gosh, did a meteor hit the earth? We can figure out things to be stressed out about. So before I get to the pillow and before I put my head down, what am I going to do? I'm going to step back before I go to bed, and I'm going to have me a little ritual. All right, what's on my mind today? What's really pumping me? What's really got me anxiety-filled? What's going on with me? Okay, so now I'm going to write that down every night. All right. Is worrying about this right now going to do me any good when it comes to going to sleep? The answer is no. Okay, so how much of this can I hand to God based on Scripture in the 66 books of the Bible? All of it. So remember when we were kids? Well, most, not all had great childhoods or anything I could rely on. But a lot of times, one of the techniques, look at our kids. One night, right before we got married, they thought somebody had broken into the house, and so they called me. And my wife had 2 sons, and nobody would go to bed or relax till I got there. So I had to go over and check the house out, tell everybody it's okay, coast is clear, you can go to bed. The kids were pacing back and forth till I got there. As soon as I got there, they sat down. Why? They had confidence in me, soon to be dad, that I would handle whatever problem it was, and then it'd go away, and then they could relax. And that's what happened. 15 minutes once I got there, everybody's asleep. And then I got to turn back around and drive back home. Actually, no, that night I slept on the couch because they didn't want me to leave. They felt secure with me in the house. All right, so let's look at you. It's piping through your head. Oh my gosh, I'm worried about this and that. Will I have a job? Do I have enough money? How am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I going to pay the rent? What if my kids get sick? I don't know. How am I going to retire? I saw the commercials tonight. All right, stop. Can you solve any of these problems in your sleep? From a practical standpoint, answer is no. Can you solve any of these problems if you don't go to sleep and you're tired and then your immune system goes down and you get sick? The answer is no. All right, so I always give myself, and this is something I learned from an older man, golly, in the 80s. He said, I worry, and here's what I do. I'll take 5 minutes a day and worry about something. And then after that, I don't have to worry about it because I already worried about it, right? I said, so I kid with people and I tell them this. I'm like, okay, the Bible tells us we don't have to worry, but if you're bound and determined to do it, take 5 minutes a day, worry about what's on the list, and go, oh, worry time's over. Okay, I'm free now. And now I can relax. A lot of this is learned behavior to where we've been taught stress and stress and stress and stress and stress. And then we've got self-esteem issues, and we got daddy and mommy issues. All these things culminate at night. Okay, Lucifer's not stupid. He knows when to hit you with it. The key is you have to understand, let's say you go to bed at 10 and get up at 6. Between 6 and 10, let it go. Let God handle it. So 10 o'clock. 9, military time. All right, 10 to 6, let it go. Pick it back up the next day. But if you don't rest, if you don't relax, if you don't renew your mind, if you aren't rested, everything goes, you have no immune system, you don't have the ability to work, you can't think clearly. Now, once we've done that, let's look at what we're eating. Don't eat foods that cause problems like this. Sugar, etc. Sugar's number one. Sugar, if you just cut out sugar, you're okay. Again, go see an MD, get your blood checked, everything. Next, if you know you're prone to do this, just be proactive. What I do is, because I did all these things. Once upon a time, I did all these things. I said, okay, since I'm being reactive before I go to bed, why don't I be proactive? So before I went to bed, I'd get a 8 by 11 card I used to like, because I write big. And I'd write down what I was allowed to think about prior to going to bed. I do this about 30 minutes out. And that way, through quantum physics, what I'm going to have prescribing to my mind to think about throughout the night is what will carry over for those 8 hours of sleep. So here's what I'm going to think about. I'm going to think about these 3 things before I go to bed. And then I'm going to carry that over as I go to sleep. Then I'm going to play through that, and then I'm going to come through. And then I can pick up anything else the next day. But for right now, for those 8 hours, this is my focus. Now what will happen is, what I did was I had pre-bedtime cards and post. So what I'm going to think about before I go to bed, what I'm going to pick back up the next day. What I learned was, if I'm focused on what God wants me to focus on, seek ye first the kingdom of God, all things are added. I stopped worry, I stopped doubt, I stopped the churning, because here's why. I'm a schedule freak, so everything's scheduled for me. So again, I scheduled worry time. Scheduled, done. Hey, man, I've already done that. It's like going to the gym. No, I went to the gym at 5, man. I'm all good. I've already worried today, so I don't get to worry now. Now again, it's 20 minutes with this topic with you. Again, this is an all-day seminar. Again, I always tell people when I'm preaching, I have 365 days. I have 52 hours with you, so basically a work week for most people. So I have 1 week to convey 66 books of the Bible to my congregation. I have 20 minutes with you to convey one contextual idea. So if you want to stop the churning and churning and churning and churning right before you go to bed every night, go ahead and schedule not to do it. So let me break it down, and we'll get out on this one. So go to a doctor. If you think there's anything outside of normal, go see a doctor. What's it going to hurt? Get some blood tests done. Get this done. Go see a professional. Okay, that's done. Outside of that, if you'll trust God, you can leave this behind. So make the list, 5 lists. I went over. If you have to, go back and listen to this again. And then pre-decide what you're going to think about before you go to bed. Pre-decide what you're going to think post-sleep. And then pick back up the day. You got to keep this in mind. Because the human body is an electromagnetic field, you can actually dictate what your body does and feels all day long, and then at night, and then pick up the next day. It's that simple. Now, I hope this helps. Naturally, if you got any questions, you can always email me. ScotFerrell.com is my website. You can always ask me. I mean, I help coaching clients do this all the time, because people come to me and go, man, I just worry all the time. I worry all the time, and I don't know how to beat it. Cool. You and, 95% of the population of the earth. So, but there are ways to beat it, and I just want to be of service to you. Okay, so as you can see from the backdrop, it says, what's your problem? If you have a problem and I don't address it, that's great. Send it to me. I'd be glad to. ScotFerrell.com is how you reach me. Just drop me an email, and I'll be glad to address it. All right, I'm going to close the session up. Hey, man, thanks so much for being part of this new thing I'm doing, our new podcast. Greatly appreciated. Remember, if you have any questions, send them to us. If you have any topics you'd like for me to cover, you got 20 minutes of my time. I'll be glad to answer anything you have. Again, I'm Scot Ferrell. Thanks so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time.